Welcome back to our viewers and listeners on another exciting episode of Trading Edge with my colleague, Commercial Director of South Africa, Sihle Tuta, and myself, Terence Hove, Senior Market Strategist at Exness. And we'd like to thank you for following our pages, for commenting and engaging with various questions. Please, long may it last, and continue to ask all the questions, continue to follow us, put the notifications on so that you don't miss another episode from us ourselves over at Exness. And today we're going to be discussing Exness as a market leader, as an employer. What does it mean working at Exness? How has it been in terms of our experience working at Exness, and Exness as an industry stakeholder, being as big as we are over at Exness with regards to our market positioning. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that positioning. So we're just going to be discussing some of that and also try and demystify certain myths around, being maybe a trader or a market analyst or financial market strategist at Exness, and all of that, including the compliance around that as well. So we'll be engaging with my colleague and discussing, and hope you find a lot of insightful value that you can take away, and it'll help you in your trading edge. Sihle, how are you doing, mate?
Good on you, Terence.
Very well, thanks.
Another exciting episode of The Trading Edge. I was actually looking at some of the previous episodes we've shot since we launched this podcast, and some of them, in fact, most of them, are approaching the 10,000 views mark, which is quite exciting for me, because when we started, I was closely watching the views, and 500, 1,000, 3,000. Well, some of them are approaching the 10,000 mark, which is quite exciting for me.
Very exciting.
And I think this is one of the few episodes which are going to be the last one for the year. We are now approaching the holiday season. We need to take some time off and some rest. It's going to be the December holidays, Christmas for those who celebrate Christmas. So it's exciting times. It's been a long year. And I think it's been good to put out all the content for all our viewers, across the continent. So Exness, as a market leader, as a key industry stakeholder and employer, where do I even start? I think as a market leader in any industry, right, it is a responsibility. It's a position of responsibility, right? You look at guys like Tesla, like Amazon, like Meta, Facebook, and in this case, because we're discussing Exness, being a market leader means that in a lot of cases you become, or you set the tone of the industry. When you take a specific position, right, it means all the industry players tend to follow suit, right? I'll make an example. Last year in December, we celebrated 15 years of Exness, right? 15 years of being in business. And after that, then we launched a rebranding exercise. We changed our branding, we changed our logo, and basically the look and feel from a graphic, from an aesthetic point of view, right? And I've noticed months after that, I saw at least 3 or 4 of our competitors doing the same thing. Rebranding exercise, changing their logo, changing their look and feel, which is not a bad thing, right? Because I think at some point, the marketing or the PR team will come to a decision that, look, we need to make some changes to our, to our online aesthetic, to our brand, and all that, right? So, as a market leader in any industry, you have somewhat the responsibility of setting the tone. Not a responsibility as such, but I think it's just a responsibility that you inherit, right? That when you take a specific position or a specific direction, then others will sort of follow suit. A recent example is when we rebranded, right, our whole image. We took a different position in terms of our aesthetic and our brand. We changed our logo and all that. And then a couple of months after that, I started noticing some of our competitors doing the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
And then, I mean, is it coincidental? Well, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah.
So I think there are benefits, there are advantages and there are disadvantages of being a market leader and being the biggest in your industry, so to speak. I think the one disadvantage, which depending on how you look at it, is that you tend to be the target for, I would say, I think people who really don't care about the industry. Whenever they want to do, bad, they target the big guy, right? Because you stand out, right? And even when the regulator, I suppose in some cases, wants to find culprits when they're on a witch hunt, in some cases, you stand out because you are who you are. You are the industry leader. You be the first where they will look. But also, the positive side is that when they look for some insight, when they look for some direction, when they want to engage, you are likely to be the first person they engage, in order to understand, how the industry operates, because I think that is encouraged, right? The collaboration between players of an industry like ours and regulators, because I think we should be more friends than enemies.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think, and another thing, about Exness is that what most people don't know is that Exness is a very big employer, right? It's a very big global employer. Okay, Exness employs a lot of people in this region, which is sub-Saharan Africa, including South Africa, Nigeria, in Ghana, in Kenya, across the continent. And of course, in countries like, Cyprus and Malaysia and all these other countries. In fact, Exness received a global recognition award for Best Employer in 2024.
Wow.
Now, if you look at those awards, it's not just any company who's awarded with an award like that. You have to sort of meet some conditions. And in the case of Exness, it is a great place to work. I think a lot of people you talk to who've had a stint with Exness can tell you that, right? So over and above Exness being a trading platform, because I think a lot of people know Exness just, as a multi-asset broker, as a trading platform. But behind that is... Yeah.
Yeah.
But beside being just a trading platform, as most people know it, Exness is an employer, right? Exness is a corporate citizen. Like in this country, we have offices, we employ people, just like all the other countries. So there are many sort of facets and dimensions to a company like Exness over and above being just a multi-asset broker or a trading platform. Exness is an employer, it's a corporate citizen. They're also sort of like a social, influencer of sorts, if I can put it that way. And when I say that, I mean, there's the social aspect where Exness has been known to give back to the community in many different forms across the globe. One example is the Exness Scholarship in partnership with the University of Cape Town here in South Africa, which benefits students who are academically excellent and financial needing. So it's basically designed for those who excel academically in the science and math sector who have a financial need. It was launched about a year and a half to 2 years ago, and some students have already benefited. And the plan is to obviously, carry on with that scholarship every single year. There is also another, project that's going on in Kenya, another project going on in Nigeria. So, we just don't believe that we can, be in a country and have clients and not give back. There's many projects I can speak of that are happening across the globe, in Cyprus and all these other regions. So Exness, as we know it, as traders, as partners, and as influencers or whatever, is more than just a trading platform. It's an employer. It's a home for a lot of people who work for Exness, over 2,500 of them, right, across the globe. Some who are working in offices, some who are working remote, across all the different departments, because what most people maybe overlook is that for a company like Exness to provide the unmatched and exceptional trading conditions, it requires different teams from different departments from across the globe working together to ensure that a stellar product is delivered for clients. We're talking trading, we're talking customer support, we're talking client relationship management, we're talking compliance, we're talking all these people from all these different departments collaborating to ensure that, you know, we deliver an outstanding product.
I mean, you've touched on a few points there, you know, Sihle, that are very pertinent, I think, to doing business, you know, call it doing business in Africa or globally. And one of the things you've mentioned, how we rebranded at Exness and, you know, what the new brand is meant to look and feel like for the future. You know, it's very futuristic.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at our new office space in Malaysia, I mean, it's as if you're walking in a high-tech sci-fi movie, for example. You know, so some of the stuff that's there, you know. And also, you mentioned the size and reach that we have, you know, as Exness. And in particular, you talk about how we stand out. And, you know, I think one of the things being an employee at Exness, that has also been, you know, quite profound is the level of ethics that's required for you to carry out your responsibilities, your duties and tasks. And that filters through, you know, whether from compliance and to compliance as well. I mean, it goes both ways, ultimately leading to our industry position and our relationship with regulators. And I think we also have a voice to share, you know, with the regulator with regards to sharing with them knowledge, with regards to a lot of white spaces that they might need more expertise or insight in. You know, I mean, crypto is one example, and, you know, how CFDs work in as much as it might seem to be static, but the industry is continuously evolving. And hence our rebranding as well, you know, for that future after having had quite a successful 15 years, you know, in the past leading to that celebration you mentioned in Cyprus in December 2023. Now, what would you say are some of your key highlights, you know, considering all of those things, working at Exness and also being a commercial director in some of, or in one of the biggest markets for Exness, for any broker as well. You know, South Africa is pretty big regionally and globally as well. I mean, what would you say are some of the key things, you know, for our viewers and listeners out there that contributes to their success, you know, and, you know, that's giving them the trading edge? You know, what would you share? And you've got many years of industry experience as well coming into Exness, you know.
So I think before I tackle that question directly, I think the industry as a whole, right, this industry is not that old, right? Or I think it started getting ripe in the last couple of years. I think 15 years ago, you know, the landscape of this industry was not what it is today. I think the first broker that opened, or first foreign broker that opened offices in South Africa did so between 13 and 15 years ago, right, in Sandton on Catherine Street, right? I won't necessarily mention the name. And then obviously all the other ones sort of started, you know, coming here and opening shop and, you know, taking on clients and all that. And I think the growth of this industry comes from a real demand, especially for young people, to do something with their lives, to get involved with something, and to obviously to potentially make a little bit of money by trading CFDs, okay? Because it's not guaranteed. That's why I say potentially. I think, you know, it's an industry trend. If you look at all of the players, right, in the industry, where they are now compared to where they were 5, 6, 7 years ago, you can see growth, a especially those that share their figures, their annual figures. And I think, our case has definitely not been the exception. Maybe it has, if you look at our level of growth, but I think we have grown just like the others, right? We've seen growth from across the board, as a company in terms of our KPIs, because if you look at any company, it will set out to grow in number of clients, maybe in trading volume, or whatever the case is. Our case, I think it's no lie that we have grown exponentially over the years. If you look at where we were 6, 7, 8 years ago compared to where we are now, the growth is evident. We've continued to open new offices. We've continued to acquire, new licenses in different jurisdictions. Our team has grown. So the growth has been there. And I think that growth comes from a hunger from our clients to grow and improve and become better traders, right? Because being a better trader means that your result is more positive than negative in terms of your bottom line, right? As much as success for a lot of traders is making money consistently, which is not guaranteed, right? Which is not guaranteed.
Right.
But I think growth in becoming a better trader, if you're a trader, becoming a better partner, if you're a partner, referring, more clients, and just seeing an overall growth in your business, then ultimately that means then, we as a company are growing, because when our clients succeed, when our partners succeed, then it means success for us, right? So I think that's where the success sort of comes from, because our business, it depends largely on the success of our partners, right? The more and more our partners succeed, then it's a good thing for us, because if our partners don't do well, if our traders don't do well, and then it means we're not doing well. And our traders doing well means that they need to have exceptional trading conditions. It means that our partners need to have exceptional support from the commercial team internally. And we are known for providing the best, support to our partners in the region, whether it's events they want to put on, whether it's campaigns they want to run, whether, whatever it is, we're there. And our level of customer support is also unmatched. We provide 24/7 customer support in multiple languages, right? And depending on where you are in the world, you're likely to get customer support in one of the languages you can speak over and above English.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's in Swahili, in most of the languages that are spoken, especially here in this region. So I think the client or the customer is central to our success. I think this actually reminds me of just like a seminar that we had with some of our partners from across the region, and we asked them one simple question. What is it that makes you keep coming back to Exness, or what is it that makes you, become part of Exness and stay for all these years? And I think a lot of people expected, answers that related to maybe, trading or withdrawal fees, or the speed of withdrawals, or the trading conditions, or the products we offer on the trading side, or all of those nice things, which are things that are good to have, because in this industry, it's some of those things that make you stick with one particular broker, right? Trading conditions, instruments, the pricing, the customer support, and all that, right? Most of the guys singled out how the relationship managers manage their relationship as the reason why they stay on, which was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Because I like to make an example with banks, right? If your relationship manager is looking after the relationship exceptionally, the bank fees won't matter that much.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously the pricing of the product you consume makes a difference, but sometimes clients or customers will overlook the cost of the product because they enjoy the service, which I think it was very evident, or is very evident in our case. And we are not, expensive.
Yeah.
In fact, we're one of the most competitive brokers out there. That was just an example, right? that, if you look after your clients, if you look after your customers, all the other things that maybe can be a shortfall will tend to be overlooked, because there is no company that is perfect, that is delivering 100% all the time across all the different facets, right? Because we're in the technology space, sometimes technology will fail us. Sometimes there will be delays in withdrawals or deposits, right? Which doesn't happen often, but it's technology. You cannot guarantee that technology will deliver 100% of the time, every time. You know what I mean? But in times when stuff like that happens, at least clients will say, look, we know technology sometimes fails us, but we know that Exness has been good to us.
Yeah, that is remarkable, Sihle. If we look at what that journey is and has been, and all of these key highlights that you're mentioning, and especially in particular, relationship. From where I sit as a senior market strategist. So from where I sit as a senior financial market strategist at Exness, there's a lot of client engagement that I undertake, on a daily basis and in various ways and forms, that gives a lot of support and push in terms of, what our product is. And that also includes using the product. At Exness as a trader, the platform that we have. And one of the key things, speaking to the relationship is, when we launched that Born to Trade campaign. And what also speaks to that campaign also is the product that we once called the mid-market stop-out protection. And what really that is trying to do is to give our clients, more breathing space, for their trades, because, sometimes markets can be quite erratic on big risk days, economic calendar, big announcements, in various forms, or sudden new headlines that come into the market. So your trade could be right, but then that new market information changes the trajectory of the trade, maybe in your favor or against you. And if it's against you, Exness is saying, look, let's give the price action, the comfort to breathe while protecting your trade, and so that you get to live, in
another
terms
day.
of trade, another day through, your trade idea. And I think one thing as well, to maintain good relations with our clients, with our partners, conversations that I always have with clients is to take responsibility as a professional. And, because we are professionals at Exness, and what taking responsibility as a trader and as a partner means is, if you're going to trade and you keep highlighting that point, potential gains or potential losses, and it's not a guarantee that you're definitely going to make the profit. But what becomes key is to have the right matrices, which is the risk management, which is something culturally within Exness is very big in terms of risk management and mitigating in as far as trading, hence going the extra step in terms of the product that we're offering our client. And being a market leader as well, being the first to offer some of these products, in terms of the actual trading facility, the actual trading platform, for you to, as you say, to live to fight another day. And, and I think one thing that has also made us successful at Exness is the cultural diversity that we have. I think that's something that I've purely enjoyed. And we've got a lot of nationalities at Exness. We've got people from across the globe. Here in Africa, we've got a footprint, in every country more or less. In terms of representation, and that speaks to, the engine that really makes things happen. And all of that cultural diversity brings to it the ability to manage relationships at different levels. Clients in South Africa have different cultural beliefs when it comes to business compared to, say, Nigeria or Kenya. But because we've got such a diverse team, we're able to share best practice and also implement that, in our business approach. I mean, what's your take on that?
Which is quite interesting, right? Yeah. Because, I mean, never mind the whole global outlook, right? If you look at sub-Saharan Africa alone, right, there are multiple countries in Africa, right? But if we focus on the nationalities at Exness, just from the African continent alone, you have South Africans, you've got Nigerians, you've got Kenyans, you've got Ghanaians, you've got people from Cameroon, you've got people from Zimbabwe, you've got people from Somalia. All these these are all different countries with different cultures, different languages, different approaches to doing business. This is just SSA alone. And then you cross over to Asia. There's the Malay, there's the Chinese, there's all these different nationalities. You cross over to MENA. I mean, so whenever you have these people, right, under one roof, right, I mean, you notice this whenever we have these big company events, when everyone is there. You look around you and you're like, oh my goodness. This is the world being represented, because there's everybody from all different walks of life, all nationalities. Well, majority of nationalities are represented within Exness, because Exness is truly a global company. Wherever you are in the world where Exness is licensed to take clients from, then in one way, shape, or form, your interest will be represented. Whenever you contact customer support, you're likely to have somebody chat to you in one of the languages you speak or understand over and above English, right? Which is true to the commitment that Exness has towards its clients, to try and deliver excellent customer support, at all times.
I mean, just speaking on the support team alone, I mean, they do a tremendous job. 24/7. They're available, handling different cases, I mean, from technical issues to some issues that are not necessarily Exness per se, but perhaps, they complement the Exness service. And being able to speak at that granular level of these issues in a local language, also speaks to the expertise the support team needs to have, and the continuous investment that Exness gives and provides for the support team to be able to, offer world-class service to our clients. I mean, that's remarkable, and I mean, it speaks of how that diversity is being channeled to further enhance, the client experience, And for yourself, what would you say has been your personal highlight, being at Exness?
So my personal highlight for me is being able to get the work done, collaborating with colleagues from across the globe. Right. Because we are a remote company, right? As much as we have, offices across the globe, but some of our teams are working remotely. Right. For me, what's been interesting to observe is how we are able to get some projects off the ground to completion while collaborating with colleagues remotely who are on the other side of the world. Sometimes even in different time zones. You know what I mean? So it's quite exciting. It's quite exciting. Quite exciting.
I would say one of my highlights, I think, is some of the projects that we have, launched through the years, with the various teams. And I think more recently, in particular here in Sub-Saharan Africa, we've got the Traders Club that we've launched out, through our other colleagues as well, that leading the various teams. And, from that initiative, we're now starting to have a different conversation with our clients and our partners, in as far as I think the project as well, the initiative, the campaign is in the name, the Traders Club. What we're trying to do is to create community. And because you speak to some of the traders and they'll tell you, I'm alone in my study, in my library, in my room, in my office, and I don't have a lot of people to communicate or to interact and engage with, in as far as just trying out or testing some ideas or just getting a different perspective to what the market is doing. So I think being part of that engagement and interaction has been very enriching and fulfilling, and I'm looking forward to the extensive growth of that initiative as we engage more with our clients, throughout Africa. And I enjoy it. I mean, constantly on the road with the team, with different team members, and having those client conversations. So I think that's one of the biggest highlights when we get to talk markets in person, over and above the online sessions, the webinars, and seminars that we have. So I think, for me, that's one of the things that stand out. I mean, there's so much to mention. I'm just picking one. Not that others are not as important, but, just picking one to share with our viewers and listeners out there, And what would be your closing remark, to this episode?
It's been an interesting year. It's been interesting to see, some of our traders grow from one level to the other. More importantly, our partners, right? Who, when they join Exness as partners, they join Exness with one goal in mind, which is to grow and growing their businesses. And to see some of the guys, growing over the months, up until now, till they reach their goals, till they come to a position of commanding influence online because of the work they do, for me is rewarding. Obviously, the rewards are linked to sort of financial rewards, because that's why the guys are here. They get rewarded for the clients they refer and the work they do. So it's very exciting for me to see a guy who comes, in some cases not knowing a lot, and then he learns and he gets to understand the business. He understands the reward model, what he needs to do in order to get from 5 clients to 10, from 10 to 20, and then so forth. And to see someone like that 12 months later, commanding an audience, to a point where his business has grown, for me, it's quite rewarding and exciting. And I can only marvel at what 2025 is going to be like. From a partnership point of view, from a retail client point of view, and the heights that we're going to reach as a company. So I'm really looking forward to it. But it's been exciting to see some of the guys grow from strength to strength.
No, that's remarkable. I mean, being client-centric, I think that's the biggest takeaway. Having sessions with clients, they might have a particular problem or challenge, walking them through it, creating strategies and systems to overcome, those challenges and obstacles, and seeing them, lead a success story. I agree with you, man, that's been some of the most remarkable highlights, in closing for this year. So, no, it's been an exciting journey. As I said, long may it last. Long may we be more successful.
Definitely.
In all the different matrices and different ways. And as we continue to grow, And to our viewers and listeners out there, thank you so much for joining in this episode. We hope you found some value and you took some insights in there. And remember to follow us across the socials, engage with us. We are listening, we are reading the comments and suggestions, and we look forward to your continuous support, following, and engagement. So from Sihle and myself, Terence, over at Exness, it's bye for now.
Cheers. Bye-bye.